How's it going, everyone? Today we're going to be checking out the PRS MT15 in 2023. If you like this video, guys, please make sure to subscribe, make sure to like, and comment down below what your favorite tone is that I get today from the PRS MT15. We've got a huge video ahead of us, and the reason for that is we're going to be looking at it at half power mode, full watt mode. We're also going to be looking at the clean sounds. We're going to be looking at the distorted sounds from the lead channel. We're going to be looking at the pushed clean sounds too. We're also going to be looking at how the clean portion of the amp responds to pedals. We're going to be trying the JHS Morning Glory. We're going to be trying the Tube Screamer. We're going to be trying the JHS AT Plus. We're also going to be comparing the amp clean section to the Dream 65 amp pedal by Universal Audio. And then we're also going to be comparing how the lead section of the amp responds to different IRs, both the IR inside of my Shure reactive load, and then we're going to also check out how it sounds through the GGD Zilla plugin and go from there. Without further ado, let's check out the amp. So here it is. I've had this amp since, I think it was winter 2019. And the whole point of this review is to be completely honest in terms of how this amp stacks up in 2023. Obviously, since this amp was made in 2018, there's been a lot of new competitors on the market, new amps, amp pedals, plugins, so we're going to see how it stacks up compared to them. I'm assuming if you're watching this video that you already know a lot about the PRS MT15. Anyway, I thought, why not make another review? This will be my third one, just to see how relevant it is in 2023. But just in case you don't know anything about this head, it is a 15 watt head, but believe me, it is super loud. It is unbelievably loud actually compared to other amp heads that I've owned in the past. Make no mistake, this is a loud 15 watts. So you've got a half power mode and a full power mode. You've got two pairs of 8 ohms or 116 ohms. I always plug into the 8 ohms because that's basically what my reactive load can handle as an attenuator. You also have an effects loop, and that's pretty much it alongside a foot switch, which does come in handy. But you have to be careful when you use the foot switch. It disengages any changes you do to the front of the amp when flicking between lead and clean. Other than that, it's pretty basic. 2-channel amp. You've also got a push-pull as a boost for the clean. When it's in half power mode, it's 7 watts. When it's in full power mode, it's 15 watts. The reason why I bought this amp was because I thought that a tube amp would sound better than digital. But this was back all the way in 2019, and since then, the technology for digital has got better and better. So we're going to have a little discussion about how this stacks up compared to digital modeling. And what we're also going to do, we're going to try this through different guitars, whatever's in reach, and we're going to go from there. And we're not going to be running any reverbs, delays, or effects at all in this review. It's all going to be just 100% the dry sound coming out of the PRS MT15. There's also not going to be any post-processing at all. So that's something to bear in mind. Completely transparent, because as soon as we start adding modulation or delay or any other effects, it really takes away from how the amp truly sounds. Obviously, something will sound better with reverb or delay on it. To begin with, we are going to start on full power mode on the PRS MT15. All of the dials are set to noon, including the presence, both on the lead and clean channel. The only exception to that is the clean channel volume is set to 10, as is the lead channel. And we're going to manipulate these volumes to see if it makes any difference to the tone, which I'm sure it will, especially for the clean channel. Let's get into it. Let's go with this one first, which is my Ibanez Prestige 1550 that I bought all the way back in 2003. You were all expecting me to go full on metal straight away, weren't you? So I thought it'd be a little controversial. Start with cleans. Right, so let's check it out. So everything's set to 12 o'clock, including the presence, apart from the volume, which is set to 10 o'clock. And this is the neck pickup. There you go. Here's the quacky position. This is going to be pickup selector 4. So a mix of the middle and the bridge. So there we have it. This is going to sound horrible. This is the X2N. Probably the worst clean tone we're going to get today. All right, so let's see what happens when we turn the volume up on the clean channel. Now set to 11 o'clock. Straight away we can hear there's a little bit of breakup happening now. Sorry, that was the X2N. It sounds terrible. There we go, a little bit softer. Not quite as harsh. It's still really dynamic with your playing. Twang. Let's try messing with the presence and the treble. So everything's in the middle apart from the presence, which is now at 2 o'clock, and also the treble, which is at 2 o'clock. Really nice and clear, still a really nice tone. You do have to be careful with the treble dial though on the clean channel. If you push it a little bit too much, it starts to sound really brittle really quick. So let's return everything back to 12 o'clock and let's try now with the boost engaged. So the volume is still at 10 o'clock. Wow, okay. I should expect it's breaking up a lot quicker. Let's see if we can stop it breaking up just by manipulating the dynamics. Even using my thumb, rather than a pick, you can hear that it's still distorting. Breaking up, I mean. Obviously a lot harder for it to break up when it's single coils versus the humbucker. There's the clean channel. Let's quickly try the clean channel with the Schecter Nick Johnston. So we've still got the boost engaged, everything's set to 12. The volume is still at 10 though. Yeah, I just love the sound of this guitar. What can I say? This guitar sounds amazing. So that was the neck, first position. Let's try second position. So it's obviously a lot harder to get it, you know, breaking up because of the power of the single coils. Let's try the full humbucker. Much nicer breakup than on the Ibanez pickups. At least in my opinion. Let's see how things work with pedals now. The clean channel on this amp is great in my opinion. I'd love to know what your thoughts are, but I think it sounds brilliant. I actually prefer the clean sound on this amp than the lead channel. I've really got to say. I think it's a great pedal platform for the price. You know, I'm not the type of player who sticks on a clean channel for that long. Obviously, I'm more of a metal type of guitarist. So there might be other people out there who say, you know, this sounds terrible for a clean amp. But I think it sounds pretty cool, you know. Sounds nice to me. And let's check it out with pedals now. So here's the JHS Morning Glory. As you can hear, the Morning Glory is set a little bit darker in tone. So here is the clean on its own. There's the Morning Glory. It's just the way I like to set it. Here's the Morning Glory with the red channel rather than the blue channel. Yeah. Let's try it with the coil split on the humbucker. Nice sound. Let's try it with the tube screamer. I'm sure you're all interested in seeing how it sounds with that. We're still on the push side of the clean. That's the tube screamer. Let's try the Morning Glory and the tube screamer together, because why not? This gives you a much heavier sound. Let's try with the full humbucker. There we go. And let's see how these two pedals sound with the boost off. So I've pushed the treble back in. Blue channel only on the Morning Glory. Red channel. And then with the Tube Screamer and the red channel on the Morning Glory. There we go. Now, when it comes to this amp, I tend to not use the boost that often, if I'm honest. I tend to keep it nice and clean as a pedal platform. So I do find that without the boost is better with this amp. But I really like the tones on the clean channel with the Morning Glory and with the Tube Screamers together. With the JHS Andy Timmons, without the boost. So that is with the boost and the main part of the pedal on. And in a moment, we're also going to compare the clean tone on the PRS MT15 to that of the Dream 65 pedaled by Universal Audio. Before we do any of that, let's experiment with the volume further on the clean part of the amp, or the channel I should say. So here's an A chord. So still at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Oh, it seems to have come to life there. Let's see if the pedals react differently now the volume's at 2. Obviously the JHS sounds the fattest out of the Morning Glory, Tube Screamer and the pedal itself, the AT+. Right, let's keep experimenting further with this clean sound, shall we? Let's go next level up. The volume is now at 3 o'clock. So 75% of the way up. You can hear it breaking up straight away, even on the single coil. And don't forget, we've not even got the boost engaged. Crazy. I bet with the Ibanez it'd just be distorting like mad at this point. So obviously no pedals engaged, this is just a clean sound. Right, just out of curiosity, since it's almost all the way up to max the volume, let's check it out on the boost. Might even sound like distortion, who knows? I bet this is going to be well noisy now, so here is the same settings with the boost on. Kind of nasty. Yeah, a bit too much in my opinion. But there we go, nice experiment. So that's what it sounds like on the clean channel with the boost and with the volume almost at full. Whew. Let's try the half power mode now. So here's half power mode. And with pedals, because I like to try and be thorough. Morning Glory blue channel. Red channel, Morning Glory. That was Humbucker split. Tube screamer included with the red channel and Morning Glory. Let's compare this tone with the full power mode from before, right here. Do you hear a difference? Some people have described this half power mode as almost kind of making the amp sound less metal. So I'll let you be the judge of that. What do you think? JHS 80, only the left side engaged, no boost. With the boost. Let's compare that to the full power mode before, with that pedal. Hear a difference? I'll let you be the judge. Okay, now we are going to check out how this clean tone stacks up on the PRS MT15 to the Dream 65. Right, so let's compare this now then to the Dream 65. How does the clean side of the PRS MT15 stand up against an amp pedal, such as the Dream 65 from Universal Audio? Let's check it out. I am going to start with a little bit of reverb, but then I'm going to take the reverb off completely. I'm using the EV12 emulation on the Dream 65. Right, so let's take this reverb off just for a fair comparison. Let's try it with an Ibanez. Right, so what did you think of that? I think personally, in my humble opinion, that the amp beats the Dream 65, especially when it comes to how it takes pedals. The pedals just seem to react better to a real tube amp. Shock horror. So that is the clean segment of the PRS MT15 over. So what are my final thoughts on this? Well, I think the PRS MT15 clean channel is absolutely brilliant. And considering that this amp is not very expensive, I think it's a great platform for a clean tone, especially if you want to stack pedals. And yeah, I can see a lot of people just bypassing the lead channel of the PRS MT15 and just staying on the clean channel, which, to be honest with you, when I do use this amp, which is not a lot these days, which I'll talk about later on, it's only for the clean channel. Anytime I want to use the pedals, I choose not to use the Dream 65 if I can, and just use the clean channel on the PRS MT15, because it does sound really good. Now, there might be some people who say, well, why would you buy the PRS MT15 if you're just going to use the clean channel? And that is a topic we're going to cover later. But yeah, as a pedal platform, it's fantastic. As a tone itself, I think it's pretty good. I'm sure there's far better clean sounds out there from far more expensive amps. But, you know, at the end of the day, if you ask someone down the street, what do they think of that sound? I think they'll say it sounds really good. I don't think they're going to be saying, oh, it sounds like a really cheap PRS MT15 compared to this 2-rock I heard the other day, or this 1960s Fender. I think most people can't tell the difference. So, you know, who are we making music for, guys? Are we making it for other musicians and tone aficionados, or are we making it for 99% of the population? It's the biggest selling point of this amp. Now we're on that point in the video, let's move on to the lead channel. And we're going to do it in reverse this time. We're going to start on the half power mode for the lead channel and then go on the full power, and just see how much of a difference there is tonally between the two. So let's get into it. Right, so everything is set in the middle, EQ wise. The gain dial is set to between 9 and 10, let's say half 9. Presence is in the middle. Let's check it out. This is going to be not full humbucker, this is going to be split first. This is half power mode. Full humbucker mode. Sounds pretty good to me, but then again, this guitar's humbucker is amazing for metal. Would you believe it, the Schecter Nick Johnston, not promoted as a metal guitar, but it sounds epic to me. Love this humbucker. Nice and articulate and tight. Right, still on half power mode, let's switch over to an Ibanez. You've got to bear in mind, however, that these two Ibanezes are tuned to drop C. But I think the Schecter Nick Johnston puts up a fierce competition, just saying, tone-wise. There we go. I'm not even sure if this one's tuned. I've not played this in months. Right, trying out the PGM 301, Paul Gilbert signature model. Let's see how it sounds. We're still in half mode. There we go. Now, some people say that because it's in half power mode, we should be able to get less of a metal sound, but it sounds still pretty metal to me. So let's see what happens when we use different pickups other than just the bridge all the time, like we have done since switching on this lead channel. So let's try some other pickups and mess around with the volume control. Right, so got the volume turned down, we're still on the bridge. And again, like I said before with this amp, the issue with it is, well, it's not an issue. There's no change in character with the distortion on this amp when you turn down the volume. It's just more of the same thing or less of the same thing. So yeah, don't expect lots of different character coming from the distortion when you're turning the volume down. It doesn't work like that. Not really. Right, let's try with different pickups. I don't find the gain, or I should say the lead channel on the PRS MT15 to be very diverse in terms of tones, because it's just more of the same, as you can hear, you know. Yeah, anyway, let's try a different well, we tried all the guitars now. Let's just try one more for consistency's sake across different pickups and with the volume. And then we'll try full power mode again, and we'll try using a different IR. This guitar just makes this amp sound better, seriously. It really does. That's as clean as you're going to get. Turn the volume down. There we go. Right, so let's try the full power mode now. So full power mode, nothing's changed in terms of the EQ. Everything is 12 o'clock, slap bang in the middle, right where the manufacturers want you to start. So let's check it out. What do you notice? Huge difference in tone? Let me know in the comments. Right, let's go with the Ibanezes again. Since we know this lead channel is just metal, and that's it. White Ibanez, that X2N in the Black Prestige is just brutal. So between all those different guitars, the EQ was the same on the lead channel, gain was the same on the lead channel. If you hear any slight difference in sound, then a tiny percentage of it might be the pickups, but only a slight amount. So let's now play with the EQ on the amp and see what changes. Now, I will warn you, 12 o'clock is the best tone. Obviously, because that's what the manufacturer set it to. And notice with the lead channel, as soon as you start playing around with things, you know, boosting the treble or boosting the presence, it's very easy to get this amp to not sound very good for metal. I'm not the biggest fan of this amp for the lead channel. And that's the main gripe I have with this amp. It's a one-trick pony, the lead channel. And that would be fine if the lead channel was amazing, but I don't think it is amazing. But let's mess with the EQ and I'll show you what I mean. It just kind of falls apart. So that's everything in the middle. Let's boost the presence and then let's boost the treble. So boost it to 2 o'clock. And that's another issue I have with this lead channel. Even if you get the perfect settings on the EQ, it just does not have that power, that low end grunt that you want, and the clear articulation in the high frequencies I find that I can get from the Fortin NTS suite or other neural DSP plugins. It just kind of sounds thin. And I've not turned up the presence and the treble a drastic amount. I've only turned them up to say 2 o'clock from 12 o'clock here. But there's just no power, there's no beef to the low end. So let's try boosting the bass, and you'll see that that doesn't make a difference either. So I've boosted the bass to 2 o'clock. No matter how hard I'm chugging there, I just can't get that real heavy chugging sound. And you could say that's because of the IR, and that's what I thought. And the IR is affecting that because this IR is not perfect for metal. It's just the best IR I can find for this type of style inside of the reactive load, like I said before. So we're going to try another IR later, but you'll see that even with different IRs, or even if we make our own IRs like I have inside of GGD Zilla, this amp just doesn't compete at all with these amp plugins. So anyway, let's try boosting the mids. And let's try messing with the actual gain now. Let's turn the gain down, because that's probably too much gain for rhythm. Okay, we need a little bit more than that. So that was 9 o'clock. We're now at kind of like 9:30, between 9 and 10. Much better. And let's try bringing down the dials back to 12. I've still got the presence at 2 o'clock. Let's turn up the treble just a tiny bit, kind of 12:30 or 1 o'clock. Bass and mids are still at 12. And there we have it. And the issue is if I apply a tube screamer, since I'm lacking already that power in the low mids and the bass frequencies, obviously a tube screamer just kind of pushes the mid-range. So we lose even more of that body of the guitar sound. Here's with the tube screamer anyway. So tone, 1 o'clock, level maxed out, and no overdrive at all. So here's with the tube screamer. So there you have it. That is with the Tube Screamer. Tube Screamer off. We get back that fullness a little bit. Tube Screamer on. Right guys, so what I've now done, I've removed completely the Shure reactive load out of the equation with its built-in IRs. I'm now only going through the unfiltered part at the back of the unit so that none of the IRs are engaged whatsoever. I've now gone into, and you should be able to see this now on the screen, I've gone into the GGD Studio Zilla plugin, and basically I've made a custom IR. I've got a room that I've just kind of muted at the minute, and then I've got 4 cabs engaged. So I've got an OS straight, a vertical, an OS angled, and another OS straight with different microphones. Now, because I was saying before about the fact that at least when I'm using the 3.2 preset IR in the reactive load, the low end and the body of the sound is not that pronounced through the PRS MT15. What you can see I've done here is I've boosted the KTR, and this is what gives the body to the guitar tone in this plugin. So you can see that this is the loudest one, just to get it just beefy enough to what I like. So let's see what the PRS MT15 sounds like through this preset. Now, I think this sounds a lot better in my opinion. Comment down below what you think of this tone versus what we had through the reactive load IR. So I think this sounds pretty good. This is the best tone I can get out of the PRS MT15. And what I should say is I've got the Tube Screamer engaged, same settings as before, and the amp settings are just the same as before as well. So as a reminder, I do have the presence at 2 o'clock, I have the bass and middle at 12 o'clock, I have the treble boosted to about 1 o'clock, and the gain is about 10 o'clock. Now with the Tube Screamer engaged, it's probably too much distortion, but I've not changed anything so far between when I was using the Shure reactive load and this. So without the Tube Screamer, with the Tube Screamer, so I've switched the Tube Screamer off. Let's reduce the gain on the amp itself to 9 o'clock, just a little bit down, because I want to tighten up the sound. So this is what it sounds with that Tube Screamer with the gain at 9 o'clock. It really has a completely different character. And this goes back to what Glenn Fricker has been saying all along from Spectre Sound Studios, who says that the speaker is the most important of all. So if you don't like the sound of your amp, maybe it's not the amp head that you need to be dealing with, it needs to be the speaker. So that's without the Tube Screamer. With the Tube Screamer, so there you go, I think we've improved the sound a lot. So it is a completely different day. I thought to myself, if we're talking about the relevance of tube amps in 2023 compared to the digital products that are out on the market, like the Tone X or the Quad Cortex, these types of emulations that are amazing, why don't we check out the PRS MT15 in a mix and compare it to the same mix but with the Fortin NTS suite? Can we actually hear which one is digital and which one is real? Fortin NTS suite, PRS MT15. I thought this would be a little bit of fun, and it will help spark a little bit of debate in the comments section, I'm sure. So this is what we're going to do. I am going to record a raw DI track into Logic. I'm then going to do one mix with the Fortin NTS with settings as close to what we've got with the PRS MT15 so far as possible. And we're going to see which one sounds better in the mix, and whether a tube amp really still stacks up in 2023 against the digital competition. Now, I'm not going to be able to get the tone exactly identical. Obviously, we're not going to be able to get the exact same tones that we get from the PRS MT15 with the Fortin NTS suite, because obviously the Fortin NTS suite is modeled after a completely different amp But let's see which one sounds the best at the very least. I'm going to try and match the settings on both amps. We're going to use the exact same IR, so it's going to be similar in that way. Let's see which one sounds best in the mix. I'm only going to do a tiny little bit of post-processing just to get the guitars fitting in the mix, but it's going to be extremely minimal. I'm not going to do as much tweaking as I normally would in a mix. The mix won't be absolutely perfect because I'm not a mixing engineer. I'm not going to tell you which one is which until you've listened to both. So here we go. Digital or tube, you decide. Number 1. Number 2, let's go. So there we have it. Which one do you think was digital, so the Fortin NTS Suite, and which one did you think was the real tube amp, the PRS MT15? The answer is, in mix 1, the very first one, was the Fortin NTS Suite by Neural DSP. So number 2 was the actual real thing, the PRS MT15. What did you think? Did you prefer the tube amp? Or maybe you didn't have any personal preference between either? Let me know in the comments. I'd be very interested to see what you think. As I said before, the only thing that's changed is the heads. The IR is exactly the same, the one that you've already seen in this video, both on the Fortin NTS Suite and the PRS MT15. I've changed absolutely no settings on the GGD Zilla, which I've used as the IR cab for both. And if you're interested what reamp box I used, it's this one. Right guys, so that is it on the PRS MT15. So what do I think of this amp? Well, first and foremost, I think as a budget amp, it's pretty good, especially the clean sound. For the clean side of the amp, I think it's absolutely brilliant for the price. I think the clean amp is underappreciated. People go straight to the lead channel and buy this amp for the lead channel, when actually I think the clean is better than the lead. Even though I managed to get a fairly decent rhythm sound out of the lead channel, you will notice that it took quite a bit of effort to get it there. And you know, if you're not careful with the IRs, which makes sense, you can end up with a pretty weak metal tone. The cons of this amp are obvious. I think I've already stated them, but let's summarize. So the cons are, the lead sound is not the best lead sound you're going to get for metal. There's a reason that this amp is priced the way it is, and that is because there are other amps and even plugins that are better for metal and metal tones than this is. So don't expect the best metal tone on planet Earth, but I do think the GGD plugin is a pretty good pairing with this amp to try and make up for its imperfections, I suppose, when it comes to tone. Would I buy the PRS MT15 in 2023? Probably not, because it begs the question, if I don't like the lead tone, which I don't, to be honest with you, and I prefer using plugins for metal, then even though the clean channel is really nice, it makes no sense to buy the PRS for the clean channel, really, because it's meant to be a metal amp, right? So I wouldn't buy the PRS MT15 in 2023 because of the lead channel. So overall, is this a good amp? Yes, it is. Is it perfect? No. Is it priced the way it is for a reason? Yes. Is it a bit weird that the clean channel is better than the lead channel? Yes. And this brings the whole debate into question. You know, would you buy this just for the clean channel? I bet there's better clean amps than this one around this price point. And even if it's not amps, plugins. I was recently trying the Corey Wong Neural DSP plugin, and the cleans on that are amazing. which then brings the whole debate about digital versus tube, right? And when you've got, you know, Corey Wong, archetype from your DSP, which does amazingly nice clean sounds, I mean, it's more convenient, isn't it? And the thing is as well is I have not used this amp in a long time because amps are a nightmare when it comes to traveling. They're heavy, they break easy, especially with the tube shortages going on. So it's hard to get, you know, parts that you need to replace. It's just becoming more and more impractical to have a tube amp. So I'm probably going to sell this amp this year. Even though the pedals sound better through this amp, I would just, in the future, if I wanted to use clean sounds, which I generally don't really use, I would just go and get a better amp that's just for clean. And that is also because all the gigs that I do, you know, you're not really able to bring an amp. You know, most of the time I'm using in-ears and all I'm doing is plugging into an amp pedal straight into the PA because that's just easier and, you know, you get by. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird time. So would I buy the PRS MT15 in 2023? No, probably not. Right guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to subscribe, like, comment down below what your favorite tone was. What did you think of this video? I've spent a long time, spent all day actually making it. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in the next one.